Hey there, it's KJ Waters. I have not been on here in a while. It has been since the beginning of the pandemic that I did a recording, but I was inspired. I had my hair done. I've had pandemic hair for quite a while. Finally got it done, and so I thought, well, why not be up on there? So I just wanted to tell you, in case you haven't been paying attention to my newsletter and everything, that I have Killing Time, a date set to have it published. So it will be out September 27th. I'm in the final stages of editing, and then I have a development editor that will have it, and I have several other people that are experts in various pieces of the story that will get into there and make sure that I wasn't being a dumbhead. So I'm so excited. This story starts right after Ronnie's out of the hospital. And if you've read Shattering Time, you know that things happened. I don't want to give it away if you haven't read it yet, but she ends up having bad things happen, and this story starts right after that happens. So it starts where she's at the grocery store, and if you've ever been in a hurricane, you know that there's no food on the shelves. The gas pumps are not working because there's no way to get supplies in since the trucks can't get through all the storm damage. So Ronnie is realizing there's almost no good food at the store, and her and another lady are laughing about it. And then the other woman tells her there's another storm coming. And I know that sounds implausible. For those of you who didn't live in Florida in 2004, you may think that this is all just made up fluff, but it actually happened. We had four major hurricanes in about 6 weeks, and it just happened to be that I moved there, and 3 days later, the first hurricane hit. So if you've been paying attention, Stealing Time happens during Hurricane Charlie that hit August 13th, 2004. That was 3 days after I moved to Florida. And then the second book, Shattering Time, is with Hurricane Francis. This book, Killing Time, starts. Ronnie ends up going on a business trip to Puerto Rico. And if you were paying attention, in the first two books, her new boss, Mike, asks her to go and she chickens out. But this book, Killing Time, she goes, and Hurricane Jean forms right off the coast. And that actually happened right off the coast of Puerto Rico, right outside of her hotel room. And there's a reason that it started right there. Not in real life, but in the world I've created, there is a force seeding storms being paid off by Jeffrey, her boyfriend. So, Killing Time is Ronnie's adventure on the island of Puerto Rico. When she first gets there, there's a lot of intrigue about something that Jeffrey has told her about her boss, Mike. And there's a teaser of that in the end of Shattering Time as the epilogue. And so she has to deal with that situation. She's stuck in Puerto Rico during a hurricane with her boss, for good, for better, or for worse. And then there's a lot of damage that happens to the island. That particular storm, Jean, when it started, it dropped 26 inches of rain on Puerto Rico. And there's some mountainous areas, and there was a lot of mudslides. And I'm not going to say that that comes into play, but it comes into play in this book. So lots of room for adventure, disaster, suspense. The mystery continues too about how Jeffrey started these experiments, who else might be involved, and some of you have been smart and figured it out. I've given you clues throughout all the books, but we bring a lot more of it to light this round. Ronnie ends up going back in time to 1872, Texas, and Jesse James and Frank James happened to be there then, along with Quanah Parker. For those of you who are Western fans of Native American lore, Quanah Parker was a back in those days was a marauder. He's a half white and half Native American, and has embraced his Native American roots and not too happy about the expansion of whites into his territory. And it's post Civil War, and during this pre-Civil War, they had started to run out a lot of the natives, and with the Civil War happening, a lot of their efforts had to go towards fighting in the war. And so now this is just after that war, and people are the natives are starting to take over more of the territory that they had previously without the resources there. So there's a conflict. And I don't go into it too much, but I just thought it was a really cool place to set someone. I found out by doing some research that Quanah Parker and Jesse James were in the same basic area. So how could I resist that? And I didn't. I hope you look for it soon. I've posted, if you're part of my newsletter, I have posted some teasers. I've put the blurb up there pretty soon. Next week, I'm working on the cover for Killing Time. And once I have a cover, I'm going to put it up for pre-order. So if you're interested, look for it there. If you're not part of my newsletter, it's free. Just sign up when you go to my website, kjwaters.com. There's a thing, you either can scroll to the bottom or there's another tab that says newsletter, and you can sign up right there. Once a month I put it out. I put out contests. I've been putting out little teasers, and I put the blurb out. Pretty soon I'm going to give you the first chapter of the book. Of course, it's not officially official until all my people look at it, but I think I'm going to release that soon so that you can kind of get pulled into the story and see where I'm headed a little bit with that. Anyway, sign up for the newsletter. And I always have a giveaway or a contest. I've been giving away $10 Amazon cards, Starbucks cards. I have just little contests. You just have to respond to the email and send me something that's going on in your world. I want to set up a Zoom meeting with people who have read both books. I want to know what you think's going to happen next. And I want to pick your brain about what you liked, what you didn't like about the first two books, maybe something you want to happen to one of the characters, Jeffrey, possibly. So just, I want to do that, but I haven't set a date yet. I just want to kind of gauge the interest. It would be really cool to talk to some people who know the story pretty well, have paid attention to the details. And, I don't want you to give away anything for people who haven't read it. So I want it to just kind of be people who have read both books and are interested in giving me your feedback. So I will post a date soon about that. But keep it in mind, I would love to hear your input as I'm finalizing this book. And I'm excited. I can't wait to get this thing out. I know it took me forever to write it, but I have a much better system for getting stuff written. I also wrote way too much of it. So I have the first 50,000 words of book 4. Yes, there's a book 4, Fracturing Time. And you may be interested to know that in that book, Matthias comes back. I'm sorry, not Matthias, Matthias. He makes an appearance, so you should probably stay tuned. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well, and I think the pandemic is winding down, hopefully, unless you're up north. It's probably just building down south where things are calming down a little bit. But I hope you're able to get out, at least enjoy the nicer weather that's coming, and I'm excited to have you watching the video and being part of my little world for my time travel series. I hope y'all doing well. Take care.